Mass Effect Andromeda, arguably the most controversial BioWare game ever made, that alienated so many players on release with lots of game breaking bugs, glitches, and cooked character models that make character models from PS2 games look like 4K resolution masterpieces in comparison. What's up guys, it's your boy Lordology here, and in today's video I aim to fix Mass Effect Andromeda. Despite the amount of issues still present in the vanilla game, there's a lot of good aspects of Andromeda that gets overlooked because of its terrible reception and strange design choices. But with this video, I'm going to detail the best mods you need to try for this slightly misunderstood game. That honestly, I can't play the game without these mods now, as it's literally a night and day difference. This is the fourth video in my best mods you need to try series, with Dragon Age Origins, Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 already being covered here on the channel, which I'll leave links in the description if you guys would like to check those videos out. And with all that being said, let's get into it. Coming in at number 10 is the Better Beards mod. One of the first things I noticed in the base game was how poor the quality of the beards were in Andromeda, which is really strange given that it came out 3 years after Dragon Age Inquisition, and that game has a far better selection of beards to choose from. Now this mod doesn't completely fix the beards in Andromeda, but it does improve them quite a bit, so that your Pathfinder doesn't look like he has dirt on his face. Some other great mods to pair with better beards is the Beard Styles mod, which adds 5 new different beard styles in Character Creator, Anto's Hairstyles mod that ports several hairstyles from Sims 4 into Andromeda, Eyes by Fem Shepping, which changes the textures of eyes for all NPCs in game for excellent results overall. I can also recommend the Character Creation Overhaul, which is a great addition for all of the Femme Rider players out there that increases the quality of makeup and complexions in game, as well as several other awesome additions like better eyelashes. Overall, these character creator mods will make your Andromeda characters much more fun to customize. Now coming in at number 9, we have the Tempest Superstore mod, which adds all weapon mods, materials, augmentations, Nomad upgrades, paint jobs, and consumables all in one convenient place on Ryder's ship. I cannot stress how important this mod was for my playthrough, especially for acquiring Remnant keys, and it made it much more fun dealing with the economy system in game, which I don't have to tell you guys was not my favourite aspect of Andromeda. With Tempest Superstore, I can also recommend using the All Cryopod Perk Rewards Increase mod, which increases the number of consumables and materials that you get directly from all of the different Cryopod perks. The Better Lab Technicians mod, so the Lab Technicians now rewards 800 Milky Way, 600 Helios points, and 300 Remnant Research points respectively. The Double Strike mod, that increases the amount of minerals you get from scanning those pesky mineral nodes on the different planets in game, and also increases the amount of research points you get from strike teams, as well as several other bonuses. And lastly, we have the Blueprints mod, which makes research in-game really cheap so you don't have to scan a whole solar system worth of planets in order to design simple weapons. Now, are these mods overkill? Perhaps they are to some extent, but not having to deal with the unnecessary and annoying systems in these later BioWare titles is why we are very lucky to have the modding community. All of these mods make dealing with the economy systems in Andromeda way easier, and I can't recommend them enough. Now coming strong at number 8 is the Road Rage mod, which makes the Nomad better to drive in every way possible. It tweaks the damage done to enemies when running them over, and damage scales with your level to keep things balanced. Changes the slope angle the Nomad is able to go over terrain while in 4-wheel drive mode, and increases the Nomad's top speed, boost, and jumping mechanics. I also need to mention that the Road Rage mod does have the Nomad top speed increase mod integrated into it, which is definitely worth mentioning. And lastly, I would recommend the Reduced Nomad HUD, which removes some of the more irritating aspects of the HUD while driving, and is a great addition to pair with the Road Rage mod. These Nomad mods will make navigating the world while driving way more fun to explore than the vanilla game. Now coming in at number 7, and quite an essential mod in this video, is the Shut Up Sam mod. If you guys played Andromeda on release, then you'll know how annoying it is when Sam is constantly reminding Ryder of the temperature, which was always really irritating back in the day. This mod also comes with some additional tweaks, like being able to silence Ryder from saying how hot it is on Eladine when in the middle of a firefight, because complaining about the weather when getting shot at is obviously a serious issue, so definitely an important mod overall. Now coming at you in number 6 is the Quick Loot mod, another pretty essential mod that disables the item pickup menu while looting items. As a result, this makes for a much more immersive and smoother experience that I really wished was a feature in the vanilla game. Some great mods to pair with the quick loot mod is the better loot mod, which increases the amount of credits enemies drop and allows for much less grinding in game, which I can really appreciate. The massively increased inventory size mod is another great mod to pair with quick loot, since you won't have to worry about dealing with inventory management, which I am always a fan of doing. And finally, the Remnant Decryption Key Limit Increase mod that increases the amount of Remnant keys you can have in your inventory from 9 to 99. Now this mod may be overkill, but I was never a fan of those Remnant Sudoku puzzles, and this just ensures that you can stuff up and try as many times as you want without having to worry about those pesky keys. A great selection of mods overall that make inventory management way easier to navigate. Now coming in at number 5, we have the Hypermobility mod. This mod makes exploration and combat way more fun to engage with. Basically, this mod decreases the amount of input lag so your rider can actually react faster when you try to move him or her in a different direction. It increases sprint speed, which is another excellent feature, and the mod increases both jump height and distance, as well as upgrading riders' thrusters to give the player much better control while airborne. Some other great mods to pair with hypermobility is the extended hover duration mod that increases the hover duration to basically as long as you want it to be, which is a great feature for both exploration and combat. I would also recommend the infinite jump mod, which adds the ability to jump any number of times without touching the ground, and this mod actually has a hypermobility compatible file, which both work really well with each other. Overall, these mods will make exploration way more interesting to engage with and actually more fun if I'm being honest. Now coming in at number 4 is the Powers Boosted and Balanced mod, which increases the damage, force, and radius of all powers and passives in game. Now this mod is not meant to actually make the player overpowered, but actually make combat much more fun, since enemies in Andromeda scale really poorly in the vanilla game and are basically damage sponges, and this mod rectifies this glaring issue for far better results overall. Some other great mods to include are the Balanced Weapons Patch mod, which increases the base damage of all weapons in game, since a lot of weapons are pretty useless at higher levels. The Balanced Melee Damage mod, which increases melee weapons damage by 40% and pairs nicely with the Balanced Weapons patch. The Increased Weapon Range mod, which increases the range you can shoot enemies with all guns from 100 meters to 2000 meters, which means when you see the enemy, you can actually shoot them. The Profiles Reworked mod, which overhauls all of the profiles in game to have much more unique and useful bonuses that actually makes your Andromeda builds much more unique. The General Augs Rebalance mod that actually makes augments useful in game by increasing the base stats to 10% instead of single digit stats like worthless incremental increases like 2%. The Power Overhaul mod, which is an extensive overhaul of all powers in game that improves balancing, adds 7 multiplayer powers with improved damage calculations, and this mod pairs really well with the Profiles Reworked mod. The Favorite Swapping Overhaul mod that doesn't reset powers when swapping profiles, which was always an annoying feature in the base game. The Reduced Evade Cooldown mod, which reduces the evade cooldown by 50%, which is a great quality of life improvement. The Minimal Targeting HUD mod, which gives the player way more flexibility to tweak and change elements of the HUD to your liking for a more immersive experience. And finally, the No Combo Cooldown mod, which removes the cooldown between combos, since without this mod combos can only trigger every 4 seconds, which defeats the purpose of optimizing your builds. Overall, I would recommend all of these combat mods since it actually makes the game's combat way more fun and fixes many design choices made in the vanilla game. Now coming in at number 3 is the Better Squad mod, which increases all offensive and defensive passives, powers, and special skills of all squad mates to better fit each party member. So now your squad mates will actually do some damage and be much more useful in combat, as well as not die as much on harder difficulties. Some great mods to pair with Better Squad are the various squad mate and NPC outfit recolors mod that is an extensive overhaul of all of the outfits for your squad mates, which adds much more customization to your game, which as you guys know, I am always a fan of having more customization. The Squad Goes Quiet mod, which funnily enough removes the grunting sounds of your character and squad mates, which I personally always found really annoying, so I'm glad this mod exists. And finally, the Larger Enemy Groups mod. Since your squad will be much more useful, it only makes sense to increase the amount of enemies in all enemy groups, which is what this mod does for the Ket, Remnant, and Outlaw archetypes, for a much more pleasing experience. These squad mods overall does a great job of balancing and fixing your party members to make them much more useful. Now coming in at number 2 is the MEA Fixpack mod, which fixes various bugs and issues still present in Mass Effect Andromeda, which still has many bugs that have been left unresolved by the developers. I am always thankful for these Fixpack mods, since I find it to be a requirement in all of my mod videos to include these mods, since many games, especially older titles, tend to have bugs present. This mod and its subsequent fixes do work retroactively, so you can install it after starting a new save, but like with the majority of the mods out there, it's best to install your mods before you start a new playthrough. Now coming in at number 1, and one of my favourite Andromeda mods, is the Project Pretty mod, which is an extensive overhaul of various textures throughout the game, which edits all NPCs, crew members, the Tempest and Nomad now have matching initiative colours, as well as several other changes that make this mod pretty essential for any Mass Effect Andromeda playthrough. Some great additions to Project Pretty are the PB Tweak mod that actually makes PB look like an Asari by removing that god-awful face paint, as well as several other tweaks for a better looking character model. The Cora and Liam Overhaul mod, which gives them both new unique hairstyles, complexions, eye colours and custom outfits. The WG Cora mod that edits many aspects of Cora's character model with a softer, more unique appearance. The Addison Tweak mod, which makes Addison more bearable to look at. The Suvi Tweak and Hair Options mods, which makes edits to Suvi's appearance and hairstyles. The Lexi Tweak mod that makes Lexi look like more of an Asari. The Turian Makeover mod, which is a texture overhaul of all of the Turian NPCs in game. The Vetra No Visor mod, which removes the visor from Vetra so you can see her eyes and face better. The Fangara mod that retextures and adds more detail to all of the female Angara NPCs, which pairs really well with the better teeth for Angara mod. And finally, the Froggy Eye Solarians mod that edits the eye textures of all Solarians in game to something a bit closer to the original trilogy Solarians. Overall, all of these character mods will make for a much better visual experience. Now before I finish up, I would like to include some honourable mentions. The first honourable mention would have to be the Right in the Eye mod, which alters the position of the camera during interactive conversations, outside of cutscenes, which honestly, I never knew I would need this mod until I tried it, and now I can't live without it. The second honourable mention is the Shorter Land and Departure Cinematic mod that shortens those departure cinematics by 90%, which I can't recommend enough. This mod also pairs really well with the Smooth Planet Approach mod, which makes the flight to and from the orbiting position of planets much smoother overall. The third honourable mention is the Faster Kadara Doors mod, which is another mod I didn't know I needed until I tried it, and is another underrated mod that reduces the time it takes to interact with the doors on Kadara, since in the base game it takes a weirdly long time to interact with the doors on the Kadara port. The fourth honourable mention is the Headphones Be Gone mod, which removes the headphones from Ryder's athletic gear, which is probably one of my favourite casual outfits in the game. A simple mod overall, but essential nonetheless, since the headphones kind of look like they're levitating in thin air, so this fix is very much welcome. The fifth honourable mention would have to be the More Skill Points mod, which allows the player to choose the amount of skill points that Ryder receives on level up. So if you guys want to experience a New Game Plus type of playthrough, where you simply want more freedom in your builds, then this mod is definitely worth trying out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of my fourth The Best Mods You Need to Try video for Mass Effect Andromeda, with well over 50 mods included, that honestly I would say fix this controversial game, and makes it much more enjoyable and fun to experience, since many Mass Effect players I know feel quite negatively about this title. So hopefully this video has given you guys some ideas on how to enjoy and fix Andromeda for the most part. Also, I would like to mention I do have a 100% walkthrough and modded showcase of Mass Effect Andromeda with all of the mods listed in this video, with a lot of extras I've yet to mention. So if you guys are interested in checking out what the game looks like with all of these mods, then you can check out my Mass Effect Andromeda walkthrough from the links below. Now I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys agree with my mod list, or are there any other mods that I should have mentioned? If so, please do let me know in the comments. I would also like to give a big thank you and shout out to my channel members for supporting my content, as it's thanks to you fine folks that make these videos possible. And if you guys would like to support my content, then consider becoming a member, and if not, then consider giving the video a like and subscribing if you want to see more content like this. With all that being said, I hope all of my fellow commanders and pathfinders have a wonderful day. Be sure to drink lots of water and get some sleep, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.
This I have to see.
Come on, show us. I'll be dead for you.
Okay. It isn't fair. He was so young and Solarian. He had so much to give.
Ryder, I can't feel my gallbladder.
Do you even have a gallbladder?
Oh no, it's worse than I thought. Oh.
No. Damn you! Damn you all!
Let's stick with the overacting Turian.